Thor versus Superman. As a non-comic book reader and mainly being a manga and anime scaler, I'm surprised to see that this debate somehow has gotten brought up to me a lot in my comments. And after years of the MCU and DCEU wave seemingly being dead, with Marvel pulling out all their stocks into Robert Downey Jr. and DC doing the same with James Gunn, it seems like both universes have the potential to be brought back into the light, and so it's time to bring back the most heated debate between these two universes, that being MCU Thor and DCEU Supes. Not only do I think the comic book matchup of this is pretty obvious since DC in general is just generally accepted to be stronger than Marvel, but both live action versions of the character get wanked to ridiculous levels, so with me today I have Key Issues Garrick to help me give you guys the real answer on Superman versus Thor. And to start us off, I'm going to be using MCU Thor because he might be the most misinterpreted character in terms of power. Literally everybody that I have spoken to regarding MCU Thor after seeing that one scene in Infinity War swore up and down that this was the GOAT Avenger, when he is, I'm not even gonna lie, not even cracking the top 3 by this point. Before we talk about anything, we have to mention Thor's two biggest feats, that being him briefly taking the energy of a neutron star and him being able to counter the energy of the Infinity Gauntlet. For one, Thor did not take the energy of a full star. What happened was Thor took not even a fraction of the energy of a neutron star, so one, it's not even star level, and after barely withstanding 30 seconds of a fraction of that energy, he only came back because of StormBreaker. If StormBreaker did not revive him, Thor would just be dead. But even with these factors in mind, there are calculations based on the amount of energy he's taken, which would put him at around large island to maybe even country level. This is consistent as Thor with his lightning blast, which should scale to base Thor, cause a giant hole in Jotunheim, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that, during the beginning of Thor 1, with this feat being calc'd at 39.5 Teratons of TNT. Now, I already know some of you are pointing out Thor's feat in Infinity War, and I'm just gonna say it right now, this feat means basically nothing. Not only is it stated that StormBreaker specifically negates the energy of the gauntlet due to the material of the weapon, so Thor throwing this is pretty much like Luffy throwing a punch at Enels' blast of lightning. He's not necessarily overpowering him, but rather neutralizing and negating through the potency of the attack. And for 2, Thor was able to do this very easily because of Thanos being caught off guard and did this as a last desperate attempt. Thanos himself with the gauntlet is definitely strong, as we've seen the Power Stone being capable of wiping out planets, but the problem is that we can't say that this attack and this attack are the same potency, because we can't. We also know that Endgame Thor is probably stronger than his Infinity War self due to him gaining his confidence along with Mjolnir back, which specifically magnifies his power. So even after arguably being amped, he still somehow can't take down base Endgame Thanos, and Captain America had to come and save him. We also see Thor and Iron Man performing combo moves with Thor using all of his lightning, and Thanos is just deflecting the attack with his raw power. And for those who want to use the Love and Thunder feat to push the agenda, this Moon feat isn't even impressive. It's actually a lot weaker than a lot of people think. It's unironically calculated to be weaker than his contribution in destroying Sokovia back in Phase 2. And the only other argument I've seen for Thor being strong is Zeus being above the other gods, which would include the sun god Ra and the moon god Khonshu, who can move stars. And all the gods fear Gore, who Thor ends up fighting, so maybe Thor's star level, right? No, we don't know if Zeus is the strongest god anyway, as you just kind of assume it. There's no actual proof for this. Plus, putting them at star level when we just see him and Thor at full power performing like a building level clash, along with the other scaling we've gone over, there's really not enough consistency for me to say that Thor is just star level. Unless you think Thor, after training after Endgame, somehow went from country to star level, which at that point, you do you. So now that we've established Thor's strength, we can now go over his speed, which should be around probably massively hypersonic. I know this seems like kind of a lowball for the Prince of Asgard, but hear me out. As I just went over in the previous section, I think Thanos is probably stronger than Thor by a good bit. However, even he himself can't react to Thor's lightning. But we have at least seen feats of at least Current Thor being around this tier, as Jane Fost can fly around the whole world 2 times in a short amount of time, with calculations have this ranging from Mach 1700 to over Mach 6000. However, this is mainly through travel speed, and we don't know if it scales to our combat and reactions. For this video, I'm going to be granting him this anyway, just to give him the benefit of the doubt, and before anyone says anything, no, Thor fighting inside the Bifrost does not mean he's light. If I'm uppercutting bro in a fighter jet, am I Mach 1? Okay, anyway. As for Thor's abilities, he has access to StormBreaker and Mjolnir, which allows him to heal and even fly. Thor himself as well has the power of lightning that he can channel into his weapons, along with covering insane distance with said weapons. However, other than this, Thor doesn't really have anything else, so we can just move on to Superman, which Garrick is going to help me cover.
Prior to his death and resurrection, Superman displayed incredible feats of strength, such as moving a tectonic plate to prevent an earthquake, a feat which generated 24.2 teratons, making him country level by this time. However, while weakened by kryptonite, he is killed by Doomsday, but as I mentioned, he's eventually resurrected. After returning to life, his powers increase exponentially, seemingly empowered by the Mother Box. As we had seen previously, Superman, after regenerating to full health, was similar in strength and speed to Wonder Woman. However, after being resurrected, his power increases astronomically. As I said, he was previously relative to Wonder Woman's strength, but now he could casually hold off the combined strength of Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg. It's pretty clear that he's at least 3 times stronger after being resurrected, as Cyborg and Aquaman are relative to Wonder Woman's strength, and Superman prior to his death was at this level as well. But I've got a bit more insight into his full power. For those out of the know, there are 2 Doomsdays in the DC Extended Universe, one that lived on Krypton, and the false Doomsday that Lex Luthor created on Earth. The original Doomsday escaped Krypton, but not before going on a rampage. During the Man of Steel watch party, hosted by Zack Snyder, the director states that the shattered moon that we see in the sky was actually destroyed by Doomsday, and at some point Steppenwolf battled this Doomsday and they both survived. So using this feat, we know that Steppenwolf and Doomsday can both output and endure forces up to or exceeding 25 exatons, which is moon busting. At the very least, they would be multi-continental based on this. Wonder Woman and Aquaman can both endure strikes from Steppenwolf, so he shouldn't be so much more powerful to the point of one-shotting them. Superman, of course, exceeds this by at least 3 times. Additionally, Superman was able to separate the Mother Box unity. This feat is very important, so I'm going to spend a bit more time elaborating on the destruction of said Mother Box unity. After being unified, the Mother Boxes can output multi-continental levels of energy, which is up to 29.6 exatons. With all that being said, Superman approaching or even exceeding planetary power isn't that far-fetched. Batman also states that he's stronger than a planet, far more powerful than Moonbusters, so much so that they can't really do anything to him at all, and he's literally stated to be the most powerful being in the universe multiple times. So that covers Superman's strength and durability, but what about his speed? Towards the tail end of Man of Steel, Superman is able to outfly a singularity, confirmed multiple times to be a black hole, which sucks in anything doused in Phantom Zone energy. Because Superman was doused in this energy, he would need to fly faster than the speed of light to escape the singularity, and in the BVS guidebook, it's stated that Superman's travel and combat speeds are equal, meaning he can not only travel faster than light, but can react and fight at this speed as well. This is relevant because Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg all scale to this Superman, and Steppenwolf is roughly equal in speed to them, if not just a little bit faster. Of course, Superman moves much faster than the speed of light after being resurrected, so fast that the other characters who can react to light speed attacks are seen as statues compared to him. Only the Flash, the fastest man alive, is capable of even keeping up. As for special skills and abilities, Superman can fly, shoot heat vision from his eyes, freeze his opponents in place with his frost breath, and heal any injuries instantly from the sun's radiation. He's got enhanced hearing that allows him to hear sounds thousands of miles away, and he can see through objects with his X-ray vision. Finally is an ability that might be a bit surprising, and that's magic resistance. We see Wonder Woman use her magical lasso, created by the old god Hestia and imbued with her magic, enhancing it so that it is powerful enough to restrain Doomsday and compel anyone who touches the lasso to tell the truth. However, when Superman is compelled by the lasso, he resists the magic and ignores Wonder Woman's pleas entirely.
Yeah, guys, if it wasn't clear enough, yeah, I'm sorry, MCU fanboys, your goat gets cooked. While Thor is just barely reaching and being on the cusp of country level, and consistently being in those massively hypersonic ranges as other characters who are lightspeed in the MCU, I don't really think Thor has any scaling to. Meanwhile, the Man of Steel is blatantly above Moonbusters and is stated to be stronger than a planet. while having faster than light combat and reaction speeds after being resurrected. Not only in my opinion are the planetary arguments for DCEU much more concrete than the MCU's, but when it comes to not only speed but generally showing the power of the characters, the DCEU naturally just does it better than the MCU. I'll probably make other videos or maybe a specific dedicated one to MCU scaling, because my god, these characters are not that strong and a lot of people gotta stop glazing them. But Thor has a long way to go before he could even approach pre-resurrected Superman, let alone the one whose son Steppenwolf. Anywho, shoutouts to Garrick for helping me out with this video, and go check out his channel for MCU DCU related content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.